welcome to the Voice of the Coast. I am your host, Danica. Along with me for the very first time, Mayor Clarence Vappie with the town of Baldwin. Now, it has been 32 years you have been with the town of Baldwin as an alderman. I just learned that you have 32 years of experience as an alderman. Why mayor and why now?
I figured I was ready after 32 years of experience as an alderman, and had kind of made the decision to up or out, and that I was ready to assume the position of mayor.
Now, I think lots of us know your wife. She's such a social butterfly, Ms. Carla Vappie. What was her position on you running for mayor?
She actually supported me. She actually encouraged me to. And as a matter of fact, when I leave, I have to go to a function for her. The library is opening in Berwick this afternoon. So, yes, she's very active also.
Right, right. That's what I said. Most people know Ms. Carla. And what did that support look like? Let's just get kind of to the nitty gritty. What did she say? Because I also know her to be very much direct.
Right. She actually wanted me to run 4 years prior. And I told her that I was not ready, you know, and then when she said, "Oh, this is your time to do it," and then I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, you know, this is virtually volunteer," and she said, "Yeah, it looks like you're going to be taking a significant cut in pay."
So, hey, if the wife says that means it's on point.
Yes.
That it's for you, and we could say maybe even ordained by God, if that's how she felt. The election was late 2022. You took office in January of this year. What was your first order of business, and how is it going?
First order of business, January 3rd, was sewer. Had raw sewage backing up into yards, into the clean outs, overflow into the ditches.
So it was like hit the ground running.
It was on, yes, ma'am. And we tackled it, temporary fix, within a couple of days. But that kind of speared me into going after funds to correct the situation and to upgrade our sewer system, because we do have a fairly old infrastructure.
Yes, and we're going to talk a little bit about that infrastructure, because you're right, it is a little old. It's
Yes, ma'am.
a lot old. And I know finances has been kind of, when you think about Baldwin, you think about finances.
Yes.
And it's almost becoming almost synonymous, right? I mean, but sewer is where most of the issues have been for the last couple of years. But there's a silver lining. Talking to you during one of the, before we got started, there's money.
Yes.
And you found some money, and that has to be a great feeling.
I did. After making several calls to people that I know in state government, and our senator and representative, they pointed me in the right directions, and also from our field representative from Mr. Higgins' office, we now have some funds that are coming to the town.
Right.
Yes,
Can you give us the amount of money that is?
Yes, ma'am, I can. My portion is going to be $250,000 from the congressional office. And we did a joint, if you will, application with the town of Patterson and Mayor Grogan. And he's going to get the pro rata share because he's bigger, he serves more customers, and he has different problems because he has a sewer plant.
That's right.
And I have a limner system,
right,
which is a sewer pond,
okay,
and a lot less costly. But he's going to receive the bulk of the funds. And it worked out perfectly because alone, neither one of us would have received the money, but together we did. And also have some help coming from my parish council members, from Reverend Craig Matthews and Mr. Rodney Orlando. They're going to help us with our match. So
it's going to be an additional $250?
No, ma'am. They're going to with the $250,000. You don't get it. You have to put a match.
Right. Okay.
Yes,
so how much of a match?
Our match would have been $62,500.
Okay, gotcha.
And with help from the parish, they committed to give us $10,000 towards our match. That leaves our match at only $52,500.
Gotcha. Okay. Now that's, in my mind, a significant amount of money. But
Yes,
is that what it's going to take to bring the sewer system up to par?
That, no, ma'am, it does not. That gets that takes care of the delivery. That takes care of lift stations, pumps, maturating pumps which shred, and but that does not take care of the treatment issue.
Okay. So, you know, it's what they say with an elephant, you got to eat it, you know, one bite at a time.
Yes, ma'am.
So at least you got it on the plate.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's time to deviate on up. Y'all come on back. We've got much more to cover with Mayor Clarence Vappie with the town of Baldwin. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. Mayor Clarence Vappie, the town of Baldwin. We're here and we're talking about, you know, what's going on in Baldwin. And we have a new mayor. Had former mayor, Mayor Prejean, who would come in often, and of course we talk about a lot of things. And I can't wait to talk about one particular thing. We'll talk about it a little bit later. Y'all come on back, stay with us because it's going to get good. Because I really want to know about just the progression and the evolution of Baldwin. Because I have high hopes for Baldwin. I've always had high hopes for Baldwin. But let's continue talking about the sewer system.
Okay.
So there's monies coming in. I mean, there's $250,000 that you are set to receive, and that's through a joint or cooperative agreement or collaborative effort between you, Town of Baldwin, and the City of Patterson.
Correct.
Of course, there's some LGAP funds. That's the $67,000 that we talked about prior to this. That's actually more of a reimbursement.
That's correct.
Okay.
We were probably spending anywhere from $125,000 to $150,000 every 9 months or so in repairs and maintenance and contractors that would come in and do work on the sewer system. Well, we submit those bills and cancel checks and the like, and we'll get reimbursed through LGAP. And then another program, CWEP funds, will come into place also, and that totals about $67,500.
Okay. But that's separate from the parish funds
That's
that are
correct.
also coming in,
Yes,
which is
ma'am.
about 52,000.
No,
60.
the parish funds are actually 10,000.
10,000.
10,000,
Okay.
right.
Okay.
That's going towards the portion that we have to actually pay for the congressional funds.
Gotcha.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. I'll match.
The match, that's
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
And then, of course, CDBG, capital outlay funds, $2 million.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, that's
That's big.
that's the big money.
Yes, ma'am.
But there's a waiting game for that.
Yes,
Because
ma'am.
with those, there's a process, and it just moves up every couple of years. And
Correct.
about where are you in the tier? I mean,
It's prioritized and it should be very high. I would hope to receive those funds within the next year or so.
okay.
And those funds are dedicated to redo our limna system or our pond.
And that's a big to-do.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Let's keep moving on.
Sure.
Water. I know
Water.
water has also been kind of a big to-do there.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's been doing pretty good right now because there's a consolidation effort that is at play, and it's been going on strong for a number of years now with Sherrington, correct?
Well, it wasn't a consolidation or collaborative effort with Sherrington. Sherrington was always our backup. Whenever we had to shut the water plant down or something, we would switch over to Sherrington's water. The unfortunate thing is our plant did not meet EPA standards anymore. And so we had to purchase all of our water from District 4, and we had to pay the list price. Because they're bonded. So we had to pay a lot for the water, and of course, reselling it, the cost was passed on to the customers. Since then, we've consolidated with District 4, eliminated a lot of the debt, and I'll say to the tune of $600,000 that was owed to the district. And they're getting a lot of assets from the town of Baldwin in the form of the infrastructure for water delivery. And hopefully by June, they will have their billing office located in Baldwin and open right on Main Street, the corner of Main Street and Chittamauga Trail.
That's a lot of money.
Yes, ma'am.
What's your population?
I think falsely it's reported at 1,700 or so.
Okay.
I'm sure we're over 2,000.
Yeah.
But everyone had trouble with the last census due to COVID. Yes. Mayor Duval Arthur had a recount and redo.
Yes, he did. He said
And he got his city.
He's a city.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, you're about maybe 3,000 shy, so we got a little
Yes.
time. Also, let's thankfully we can applaud the residents for paying their utility bills. That you guys are now back in black.
Yes.
With that, that's helping with your financials?
Yes, ma'am. It was mandated by the legislative auditor. And that's the reason for our increase in gas prices also, because they mandated that we increase our prices, and we don't have any control over that.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
All right. Well, we've got much more to cover. It's going. We're moving. So come on back right here on The Voice of the Coast with yours truly. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. Again, my guest, Mayor Clarence Vappie. I am your host, Danica Long. Talking about finances, and here's another bit of good news. You said that there's an agreement with CLECO.
That's correct. CLECO is, of course, our power provider. We have a CLECO plant located in Baldwin, so it's probably our biggest industry. And they offer a program called PowerWise, where they actually go into municipalities and put energy efficient lighting. And we've completed the town hall, the police station, and now we're going to all the other municipal buildings. And just the 2 buildings that they completed, the projected savings is about between $7,000 and $8,000 per year. And there's no cost to the town.
You know, if I were you, I'd just get on Google and just say free. What free municipalities? What's out there? So that's great.
Yes.
No, that's a really good. That that's a significant cost savings. You know.
And the governmental representative proposed a question to me. He said, "You're probably wondering why we're doing this, to sell you less electricity." And I said, "It's probably because you all are avoiding brownouts and trying to avoid buying electricity from other power companies." He said, "That's exactly why."
That's right. There's always a reason, you know, that's attached. So, you know, but it's good to know that you could get something out of it as well.
Correct.
Right? So,
Correct.
great. Now let's talk about, so, you know, you're new to this seat, but not new to, you know, politics.
Correct.
But you have decided during your term that you would do a series of town talk meetings. How was the first one? It was on my birthday, so I wasn't able to make it.
It was great. I'm sorry you didn't make it, and it really turned out well. I was prepared for a lot of criticism, received some, but it was constructive, and that I invite. And the town talks are a lot different from the town hall meetings or our council meetings, because those are structured. And those are mandated by the the legislative auditor and the Larson Act to follow the agenda. Comments can only be made on items that are on the agenda unless the agenda is expanded. So this gives people the freedom to talk about anything they wanted to. And I promised during campaigning that I would do that and avail myself once a quarter. And so Ms. Carolyn Bowser, who is one of the alderwomen, organized the first one. And we had very good attendance, very good questions, and it was, I think, only supposed to last about an hour. It lasted 2.5 hours.
Come on.
And but it was very good, and we got some very good feedback. And I'm checking off on the list of things that they gave me, not complaints, but just things they wanted addressed.
Okay. Now, of course, we talked about no Robert's Rules of Order. We got that. So, however, it is held in a church.
Yes, ma'am.
So, you know, watch your language. You know, watch your behavior. Right.
That's correct.
But you say you welcome the criticism.
I did, because I want to know which direction to go in, and I want to know if I'm doing something wrong, because it's not a job that you can do alone. And I've received a lot of outside help. Received help from Sterling Sugars, from Patu Sugars, from just classmates. You know,
they want you to win.
Yes, they do.
You know, they just want you to win.
That's
and
right.
I think many of those people, I'm sure, live in Baldwin. So
some don't.
Okay.
Actually, the ones who have done a lot of the help don't live in Baldwin.
Okay.
And they just want to help me.
But is it home? Is it home for them?
Close. The one who kind of spearheads it is from a little community called Ashton, but we've always adopted Ashton.
Yeah, that's home. That's home people.
It's a suburb, a suburb of Baldwin.
Right.
Yes,
okay.
that's correct. And that's Ms. Juanita Rodriguez Clements.
Got it. Got
And
it.
she kind of organizes a big cleanup. We cleaned up properties going out from the center of town, going out towards Raintree.
Okay. Well, that's a big to do because that's going to
Yes.
lead me to this next segment that we're going
Okay.
into because cleanliness is very important.
Yes.
And y'all know what I want to talk about, economic development. So
Yes, ma'am.
in order to attract those businesses, it's got to be clean. So that's the first step. So let's talk some more when we come back from break about what are your plans to bring some businesses to the town of Baldwin. Come on back right here on the Voice of the Coast. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. Mayor Clarence Vappie is my guest, and now let's get right to it. Economic development. We ended the note talking about just cleaning up the city.
Yes, ma'am.
And you know, if you, I don't know, I'm just saying, if you clean it, they will come.
Yes.
You know, you got to make the place attractive.
That's
so, I
correct.
mean, what are some efforts to attract businesses?
Well, you know, we consider ourselves a bedroom community. We have several businesses in town, but no major businesses, if you will. Our tax base is not broad and it's not a lot, but we pride ourselves. Matter of fact, that's my Clean City pin right there.
Okay.
We've actually won Clean City before, and being clean. But I did have some help from some friends and some corporations that came in and did some cleanups. We've had two cleanups in town, one organized by Alderman Ajani Connor and one by Alderwoman Margaret Faye Kolar. And we want to keep that going, you know, definitely to clean up. The other thing is I entered into an agreement with South Central Planning to eliminate blighted houses and properties. They're doing all the legal work because that's the biggest part. You know, you have to notify all the owners, and some of these properties have 100 heirs.
Wow. So I'm about to say, how does that go? Because
Yes.
you get that started, you get that ball rolling, and then you hear, you know, that's family property. I don't live there. You know, you're going to take my property. I mean, how's that? Are you receiving? What's the feedback?
Well, we haven't really gotten bad pushback
Okay.
yet because, you know, we explained to them in a meeting it's not fair to your neighbor. And if you don't live here, you still need to take care of that property or sell it or whatever. We don't want to steal it from you, but we want it, you know, presentable.
Right.
And so I did send out certified letters. We got a lot of positive feedback. Some people went out and they cleared their properties. We've even had one homeowner went out and he's demolished his house.
Come on.
And they're hauling it off. And so I think it's going to work well. And there was a house just across the street from that house that was for sale. As soon as they started tearing that house down, it sold.
Come on. Yeah.
Yes, it did.
Okay. Have you talked to any businesses? And let's just say this. I want to say this to be clear because those businesses that are functioning, that are doing well in Baldwin, we definitely want, you know, don't want to say like you're not doing anything because, you know,
Right.
I know of one that I kind of know of that's been doing very well. People love to go to that particular place. So, but what about attracting other businesses?
Yes. Well, you know, and we don't want to attract a competitive business to knock out our little mom and pops businesses. That would be totally unfair, you know, to them. We want to diversify. Of course, we had 3 oilfield construction companies in town at one time, but you know how the oil field goes. So we lost those. But in one of the spots, the Port of West St. Mary purchased the property, and now SLCC is open there, and they're teaching welding and CDL.
A lot of times companies ask, do you have housing? You
Yes.
know, that you do have houses.
Yes. If a larger company were to come in, I've actually talked to rural development, and contractors can get 1% loans to develop areas. And we have a lot of property out at what we call our Raintree Village.
Come on.
Yes, ma'am. And
Now-
it's ripe for all the infrastructure's there, and it's ripe for development.
Now, when you say Raintree, my mind immediately goes to the Chitamacha organization.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
do you say? I mean, Are they on board? I'm assuming they would be
Yes,
because there's.
yes.
Okay.
And Ms. Dorn and I have talked about a number of things and working together, with the two of us.
Now let me use this last minute I have.
Yes, ma'am.
Crime. How has been crime in Baldwin? Because it's a small town.
Yes.
But how is crime? Let's just get right to the point.
Less, a lot less. And I get reports from people saying it just seems so nice and quiet again. We have a stronger police presence.
Okay.
They see the police out, they see them patrolling, and crime goes down. Yes,
They say that's typically a deterrent, and
Yes, ma'am.
and it seems like it's working. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Don't be a stranger.
Thank
We'd
you.
love to have you back and love to keep you. So make sure to subscribe to us on Facebook. We are KWBJ TV 22. Have a good day.